Ow.
That's me. Hello.
They've made a lot of Final Fantasies.
Some might say several, yes.
So many fantasies, but there's only one final.
Yep.
And by that I mean there's like 40 to 50 finals.
And then the knockoff brands, even though one of them is better than most of the recent Final Fantasies of Lost Odyssey and Last Story.
Those are not Final Fantasies. What are you talking about?
Oh boy, Final
Please
Fantasy.
get with the branding.
Oh my god.
Squaresoft's Final Fantasy.
And eventually Square Enix.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
So, hello. Welcome to this week's episode of the Season of Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Allen Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode 180.
Jeez.
It's a lot of episodes.
It's a lot of episodes.
We're going to rank some Final Fantasy.
Yeah, we are. We're going to rank some Final Fantasies that we both played.
Keyword, some.
Some.
Because as you said, we're going to rank only the ones that we have both played.
Mm-hmm.
As in, we're not going to be ranking ones that like only I've played or only you've played.
Right.
This has to be a collective played. And, you know, for some of those that might vary on how much we played, but we will determine that as we come to these games.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna list all of the games that we've played in the Final Fantasies, and then we'll figure out from there where they get ranked.
Let's do it.
I'm using the list of games from the Final Fantasy franchise page on giantbomb.com.
All right.
To give us an understanding of what are the Final Fantasy games. Starting with Final Fantasy.
I have played it.
I have also played it, but I've played like a half hour. And that was enough for me to be like, this game sucks.
That counts. Final Fantasy 1.
Uno.
1.
Final Fantasy 2.
I have not played Final Fantasy 2.
I have not played Final Fantasy 2 either, so we will move on. Also, we're going by just the actual names of them. We're not going by US names or anything like that.
No.
Final Fantasy 3.
I have played Final Fantasy 3.
I have not played Final Fantasy 3.
All right. It does not count.
Final Fantasy Legend. The Game Boy game.
Oh, no. I did not play that one.
What about Final Fantasy Legend 2?
Nope.
Final Fantasy 4.
Yes.
I also played this game. I never beat it. I got to the moon and was like, yeah, that's good. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, we have it on the list, don't we, for us to talk about it eventually if you play it?
Yeah, but like I played it so long ago that I don't really remember much besides you go to the moon, there's dragoons.
I know, but you could play it again.
That's such a lot. That's a lot of time commitment.
All
Let's be
right.
real. Final Fantasy Adventure.
Which one's that?
This is the first Mana game.
Oh, no.
Legend were the Saga games that got renamed to Final Fantasy games over here.
Mm-mm.
So no for me either. And I'm assuming the same for Final Fantasy Legend 3.
Yeah, nope.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Yeah,
That's a yes on both.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
There you go. Final Fantasy 5.
Yes.
I've played like a half hour of it.
Does that count to you?
I don't think so. Like I barely scratched the surface of it.
Okay.
So I don't unlike Final Fantasy 1 where I was able to be like, "Oh, I have an opinion on this pretty much right away." I don't really have an opinion on that game.
A half hour in Final Fantasy 1 is a lot different than a half hour in Final Fantasy 5.
Yeah.
Real.
We're going to skip this Final Fantasy 1 and 2 compilation on Famicom to go to Final Fantasy 6.
Yes.
Oh, I should say yes for me as well.
Oh. I was like, eh?
I was just waiting for you to throw it down there. And then same for Final Fantasy 7.
Yep.
Yep.
Just through 10 too. We
got to build to those.
Okay.
There's a lot of games to get through between now and then.
All right.
Like Final Fantasy Tactics.
I have played it.
I have not played it, obviously, because I'm not a tactics person.
You're not a tactics person.
I have played the Final Fantasy 14 raids that are based on Final Fantasy Tactics. That's about as much Final Fantasy Tactics experience that I have.
Oh my god. Nice.
So yeah, we're not gonna put that one on the list. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon.
What was that on?
PS1, and then they just remade it.
Okay, no, but I wanted to.
Okay. I also did not play that. Final Fantasy VIII. It's going to be on the list. There's apparently a PS1 collection of Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6 they put out there.
Yeah, I have that.
Well, this was Japan only, so no, you don't have that.
I have the one that's like
4. It's 4 and Chrono Trigger.
There you go. That's what I have.
And then there's another one I think that's like 5 and 6.
I have both of those.
Chocobo
so that's probably
Racing.
why I was confused.
Yes. Chocobo Racing.
No.
I always saw that game and I was like, that seems interesting, but I never played it. The Final Fantasy kart game. Final Fantasy Anthology was just what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Dice the Chocobo. A GBA and PS1 game starring chocobos that was a board game.
Nope.
All right. Moving on to the next page. Chocobo Collection.
Nope.
Chocobo Stallion. These are all just Japanese only games. Chocobo Dungeon 2.
Nope.
It's a PS1 game. So I don't know why Vagrant Story is in this list. That's not a Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy 9.
Yes.
That is a yes. Hataraku Chocobo, which is a Wonder Swan only game.
Whoa, absolutely not.
Final Fantasy Chronicles we talked about, but we're not considering for this because that's just a compilation.
Right.
Final Fantasy X. That is a video game. You may have heard of it. I was about to be like, why did you put Roman numerals for 10, but everything else was numeric? Final Fantasy 11.
I played it.
I have not played it, so
all right.
Can't talk about that. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
I did play that.
Didn't play that. Final Fantasy X-2.
We both played that.
We both played that for sure. Final Fantasy Origins, not counting. Final Fantasy 11 expansion pack, obviously probably not going to work either. No. Crystal Chronicles.
I played that.
I have not played that.
Okay.
Maybe when that remake comes out, we'll play that.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun for us to play that.
Another Final Fantasy 1 and 2 edition that they put out on the GBA, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Another Final Fantasy 11 expansion pack. Before Crisis Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, what a great game. They need to remake that.
I didn't play that.
Oh, that's tragic. Zach is best boy in terms of the entirety of Final Fantasy 7.
All right, well, let's move on to board PS2 games like Itadaki Street Special.
Nope.
That is Fortune Street for you people unaware. It's a board game that they combine Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy characters with.
Yep.
Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy 7.
You've heard this story.
I have. I have not played that, so cannot talk about it. But we can talk about Final Fantasy 12.
I did play it.
I also played that.
All right.
Another Final Fantasy 11 expansion. Have I talked
about my freaking Dirge story on the podcast yet?
We've talked about 7, so I'd assume we had to have at some point.
Okay, because like Jesus.
Itadaki Street Portable. That's a Japanese only game. A re-release of Final Fantasy 3. Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo Tales for the DS. It's a minigame collection. So yeah. Final Fantasy Tactics The War of the Lions.
Yes.
No. Another Final Fantasy 11 expansion pack. This DS Final Fantasy 12 game.
Yep, I played that one.
I didn't know this existed, so no.
Yeah, it's Pinello's got on some like weird pants. Hold on, you should see Pinello's pants.
And I could click on this link and see if there's images of them.
All right,
there's 166 images in this page.
Her pants are crazy.
And it's just screenshots.
Oh my god.
I mean, this looks like a tactics game, so clearly not. Those are some weird pants.
Did you see them?
Those are weird pants.
They're really weird pants. Anyway, I played it. You didn't even know it existed, so no.
Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon.
Nope.
For the Wii, the DS, and 2 other platforms. Final Fantasy 4 for DS. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for DS.
Nope.
Nope. Let's move to page 2 as I scroll back down. Boop.
Boop.
Boop. Boop. Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7.
Didn't we just talk about that?
No, we talked about Dirge of Cerberus.
Oh, well, Crisis Core is really good.
And then the other one was a mobile game.
Oh, Crisis Core is the one I'm thinking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
That's the one that they should remake because Zach is great.
What about WiiWare, Wii Shop, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a King? It's a town management game.
Nope.
Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire of the Rift for the DS.
No.
Nope. Crystal Defenders. A tower defense strategy game taking place in the Tactics in 12 universe.
Nope.
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Echoes of Time.
Good lord. What was that on?
Wii and DS.
I might have played that, but you probably didn't.
Nope.
So it doesn't even matter.
Final Fantasy IV The After Years.
I did play that.
I have not played that, but I've heard things about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a Dark Lord. For the Wii Shop.
Nope.
Blood of Bahamut.
What?
It's a DS game. I think it's Japan only.
Okay, I was like, I didn't even hear that.
Dissidia Final Fantasy.
I have played Dissidia Final Fantasy.
I've played the most recent one, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Not talking about Lord of Vermilion. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles The Crystal Bearers.
Nope.
Final Fantasy 13.
I have played it.
I have also played it.
All right.
I own that game.
Why?
You know, Chocobo Panic.
Nope.
It's an iPad game. Final Fantasy 14. I've played that.
You've played that.
But you haven't.
I have not.
Final Fantasy The Four Heroes of Light.
No.
It's a DS game. Chocobo's Crystal Tower. A Facebook game.
Nope.
Dissidia 12 Final Fantasy.
Which one was that? Was that
the
still
sequel
on the
Dissidia?
PSP?
Yeah, PSP and yeah.
Okay, I did not play that one.
I did not play that either. There's a Final Fantasy IV Complete Collection that puts Final Fantasy IV and After Years together, and a new scenario set between the two eras. For the PSP.
The PSP.
Yeah, I did not play that. Final Fantasy Type 0.
I did play it.
I also played that.
Oh wow.
I bought that just to get the Final Fantasy 15 demo.
That's why I did it too.
Yep.
Typo 0.
Typo 0. Typo negative 0. The Final Fantasy Typo negative collaboration we were all hoping for. Final Fantasy 13-2.
Did not
play that either. Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy.
I did play that.
I didn't play this one.
Oh.
I played the other one.
Okay.
Final Fantasy Dimensions. It's a mobile game.
Nope.
Final Fantasy All the Bravest. Also a mobile game.
Nope.
Another Final Fantasy 11 expansion pack. Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13.
Nope.
Neither for me.
Near.
Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call.
What was that on?
The 3DS. That's the sequel to Theater Rhythm.
I might have played that.
That's the one I have.
I might have played that one. I know that I played 2 of them.
I think there was just 2 of them.
Okay.
So this is the second game.
How the heck am I going to spell it? Theater.
THEA.
Did I spell that right?
Take out the extra E in theater.
It's not an extra E. That's how you spell it.
I know, but that's not how you spell it here. It's Theater Rhythm.
Theater Rhythm.
Final Fantasy Curtain Call.
Final Fantasy Curtain Call.
All right. Final Fantasy Agito. It is a free-to-play Final Fantasy in the same world as Type 0 mobile game. Neither for me. All right, we're on the final page. Final Fantasy Record Keeper. This is one of the more prominent mobile games they put out.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
I think I played a little bit, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Nice.
Final Fantasy VII G-Bike. The mobile motorcycle chase game they made.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I played that either. Final Fantasy Explorers. This was a 3DS game.
No.
Final Fantasy Legends Toki no Suisho.
No.
It's another mobile game. Mobius Final Fantasy.
No.
I played this. And it was weird. It was like a retelling of Final Fantasy 1, but like a mobile game.
Weird.
The first 14 expansion, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. That is another mobile game.
Nope.
Dissidia Final Fantasy NT.
I probably did not play that one.
I'm trying to check something here. So that is the one they put out on PS4.
Okay, so I've only played the ones that were on like handhelds.
Yeah, I played this one, but it was like an open beta type thing. That's the only reason.
Right.
That's the only way I played it.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't count.
Yeah. Adventures of Mana, which is a remake of Final Fantasy Adventure for mobile. Justice Monsters 5.
No.
This is the mobile version of the pinball game from Final Fantasy 15.
Why? Why?
It's the cross-media platform of Final Fantasy 15.
Oh my god.
Theat Rhythm Final Fantasy All-Star Carnival is a Japanese-only arcade game, so obviously neither of us have played that.
Nope.
World of Final Fantasy.
We have both played that.
Yes, we have.
Oh, there's a lot of contenders for the very bottom here.
King's Knight Wrath of the Dark Dragon.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a mobile game and is a remake sequel of the Squaresoft 1986 game King's Knight, but set in the Final Fantasy 15 universe.
Oh my god. No.
Speaking of, A King's Tale Final Fantasy 15. That is the prologue to Final Fantasy 15 they put out.
Did I play that?
I don't think I played it, so.
Was it a demo? Because I played the demo.
No.
That's like, here's him as a little kid.
Well, they put like 2 demos out of that.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Final Fantasy 15.
I played it.
I also played it.
I would say that you played it enough to count.
Yeah, I mean, I got the same story.
Yeah.
Ish.
15-ish.
Ish. Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, which is the mobile Dissidia game.
Nope.
The next 14 expansion, Final Fantasy 15 A New Empire, which is the bad mobile game.
You mean there's worse?
It's the one that's like, do you remember all those bad mobile like commercials that would go out like Game of War? Mm-hmm. Like all those types of games? That's what they made this as.
Oh,
it's one of those.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow, you can really tell when I stopped playing Final Fantasy games.
The remake of 12.
Nope.
Piclogica Final Fantasy. It's a Final Fantasy Picross game. Which that sounds pretty good, actually. Itadaki Street Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy 30th Anniversary.
Nope.
I've played this.
Oh, wow.
I played a demo, but...
I have not.
Monsters of the Deep Final Fantasy 15.
No. Absolutely not.
The only VR game that you would ever want to play.
No, it's not. I don't even like VR, and I don't like Final Fantasy 15.
But it's only fishing.
The only thing in this scenario that I like is fishing in video games.
World of Final Fantasy Melee Mellow.
What?
It is a mobile MMO spin-off of World of Final Fantasy for mobile devices.
Why does that exist?
Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition? The greatest game ever.
Do you want me to pin that to
No,
15?
I mean, we know what we're talking about when we're talking about 15.
Okay.
Final Fantasy Explorers Force.
Nope.
It's another mobile game.
Nope.
Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody. This is the remake of Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, I believe.
I have not, but I would like to.
The latest 14 expansion pack. War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. It's another mobile game. Yo, you like gotcha? I heard you like gotcha.
Oof. Man, I didn't realize there were this many Final Fantasy mobile games.
Oh, yeah. And finally, Final Fantasy VII Remake. We played that demo.
We did play the demo.
But I don't think that's enough. You're going to play that game soon.
Yeah, if Keegs sends it my way, then I will play it. That is the agreement.
So we will know someday the truth about that game.
I refuse to pay money for it, but if someone is going to send it to me, then I will play it. Which, if you think about it, that's how 15 happened too.
It's true. I spent money on it though.
Why do people hate me?
Oh man. All right.
We have a list.
How many games we got here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Perfect.
Good.
Same number of Final Fantasies they made.
Good. Mainline numbered Final Fantasies. Let's go. Man, this is quite the list. Like I said, there's a lot of contenders for sorry, undo my columns.
I didn't mean to undo your columns.
There's a lot of contenders here for the mob.
You say the mob?
The bottom.
Oh.
The worst.
Who is the mob in this situation?
I don't think these columns are working with us.
There we go.
Okay. Woof.
All righty.
All right. We're going to start from the bottom or the top?
That's a good question. What do you think?
I was going to say we start from the bottom.
What do you think the worst game on this list is?
Worst game on this list.
And I'm looking at 2 of them, and they're the top game and the bottom game.
I mean, honestly, I was looking at 1, 15, and Type 0.
I don't think Type 0 is as bad as 1 or 15.
Okay, I will give you that. At least the character designs weren't atrocious-ish.
The game's playable.
It is playable.
That's automatically a mark above both of those.
I didn't enjoy it, but man, I'm gonna say it's either 1 or 15 as well, but we have to figure out which one's that spot.
Man, I might go Final Fantasy 1, honestly. Because Final Fantasy 1 is like near on unplayable.
I mean, like, going back and trying to replay that now is near impossible. And anybody who says that they enjoy it,
which to be fair, like, they have remade this game in ways that makes it playable.
Yes.
But if you're going back and playing the NES version of Final Fantasy 1,
just go play Dragon Warrior.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
Don't bother. It's
real
bad. It's real bad.
I mean, like, that's one thing I definitely say for Final Fantasy is that it improved a lot with time.
Yeah, that should be the clarifier. That, like, we're talking about Final Fantasy 1 for NES. Like, I have not played the remakes of it or anything, so I don't.
No, I haven't played the remakes either.
I don't know how. I hear they improve upon it in different ways for like the GBA and the mobile version and all that sort of stuff. But like, God, the 30 minutes I spent with like Final Fantasy 1 just trying to play it and being like, God, this is terrible. And I played through all of Final Fantasy 15.
I did too.
We both did.
I did too.
Which I think that's saying something. Like, Final Fantasy 15 is a better playing game than Final Fantasy 1.
I will give you that, yes. It is a functional video game-ish.
Right.
So yeah, Final Fantasy 1.
Wow, congratulations to Final Fantasy 1 at the top of the list right now. Oh, shoot.
Oh, no! Undo.
This is a mess. Columns. This is a mess. This is real bad.
We don't have to have columns. Just undo columns.
I don't know how.
Hold on, I got you.
I don't. What happened? Okay.
Are you better now?
I'm good.
Columns.
Columns are bad. All right, the number 1 Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy 1. There you go.
Is it
now? Just kidding. It's not. It's now Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, there's just a lot wrong with 15. There's a lot wrong with it. Which, by the way, we didn't talk about that weird multiplayer 15 that we played.
I was just about to bring that up.
Oh boy, that sucked so bad.
That's also real bad.
Oh, that sucked so bad. We played like a few missions and we're like, what is this? What is this trash? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I
The full title.
the the only thing that like can really be said about Final Fantasy 15, like if I were to sum it
Cup
up
ramen.
into, I was gonna say if I could sum it up into one word, it would be cluster. But cup ramen is also acceptable.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Oh my god, what a the Kingsglaive, the anime, like it was just a disaster of a freaking game.
All right, so we got the bottom two clearly sorted out. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
What comes next? What's above Final Fantasy 15?
I'm still gonna argue Type 0. Do you remember anything about Type 0?
The motion blur on the camera was real bad. It was real brown.
It was really brown.
It was very action-y.
There were some like card related names or something. I don't remember.
There's a school. You have a lot of characters.
Yes. But like the fact that I don't remember anything about it and I played it says a lot to me.
It was a bad remake. I think that was like kind of the key thing, like because it was originally a PSP game, and then like they put it to PS4, and basically the only reason they put it to PS4 was to package in the 15 demo.
Right, which is
literally the only reason like why 95% of people bought that game.
Yep.
I mean, sure, some of them probably were like, Type 0, it's HD, oh my gosh, I love that game. But a majority of the people were like, oh, Final Fantasy 15 demo. Yeah, I will buy this to play this demo. That's it.
Yep, that's what happened.
Yeah, I might put that here. Because I don't really remember much else of it other than just like being like, oh, this camera sucks. This doesn't look good.
So like if that's the thing that you're remembering is that like it was annoying.
Yeah.
And you can't remember anything about the story, then like I'd say that it's pretty fitting to put it here.
But let's see what's next. I think above Type 0 you would put Final Fantasy 13.
I agree with you. That was my next.
I never finished 13, mostly just because like at the time I still was not deep into JRPGs yet. Like I hadn't really come around on them quite yet. Mostly it was just like, oh man, these trailers look real cool. It's a Final Fantasy game on the 360? Oh neat, I'll buy this. Got duped.
Yo, I was really big in RPG. I'm still big into RPGs, but like I've been a hardcore RPG person my entire life. I still did not finish 13 because I was just like, no, this is awful. I can't do it.
Those cutscenes, real good looking.
They're beautiful. And
They're
that's
really
one thing
good
that
looking.
Final Fantasy does right is that they make beautiful games. Like Square makes beautiful games. But
and then they made the most linear JRPG ever.
With like some obnoxious characters that don't make any sense. Just like, oh, what is this nonsense? Trash. Also, I didn't like the fighting system.
Shout out to Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Don't even bring it up. Nomura's gonna be like, huh?
I believe you mean now Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Good.
Look, there's one thing I'll give Nomura ever credit for, is that like when he gets in on his bullshit, he gets in on his bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
he
like,
commits.
He commits to it. It doesn't make it less bullshit, but like, you know, stick to your shtick, I guess, buddy.
Yeah.
Awful.
All right. I think above Final Fantasy 13, we put World of Final Fantasy.
I would agree with you.
World of Final Fantasy was good for like
part of
3/4 of the game, and then once it got into like the actual original story where you're just not going around and hanging out with Final Fantasy characters, this became frustrating. It did have that really killer hub world song.
Oh yeah, it did have that really good.
Real good.
It was real good.
But yeah.
And there were some decent like remixes of Final Fantasy tracks too. But,
yeah. Like, I'm trying to look up and see who all the weird characters they bring you or they represent in World of Final Fantasy.
Oh, and then it had that stupid dance.
Oh God, why'd you have to bring that up?
Sorry, man.
That was not good. That was not good.
It was not good, man. It was not. Yikes.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity to put this game out in 2016 and not have any Final Fantasy 14 representation in it. I'm just gonna say. And then also they put Sora in it as DLC.
Did they really?
They did, yeah.
Of course they did. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't you just throw Sora into everything? You think Sora's a Sora spot for me?
Can we cut her mic? Can we cut her mic? Yeah. Okay. Good.
And this is why I never win Quiplash. Ever.
I mean, I would give that a vote just because I'd be mad.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Just rage vote for me.
Terrible.
Perfect. This is what I want out of life.
But I guess.
What were we looking at? Was it World of Final Fantasy?
Oh, I guess they did put someone from 14 in. I don't know if it was DLC or not, though.
Oh.
Or if it was one of like the other games. Or it was in that expansion.
Oh, I didn't play expansion. I
had
enough.
So it was from
I had enough the first time around.
From the big update they did, they added in Garland from Final Fantasy 1, one of the characters from FF2, Cecil from FF4, Zack from FF7.
Cecil.
Whatever, same difference.
They added in Zack?
Yeah. Sarah from 13, Ishtola from 14, and Noctis from 15.
Well, that just automatically makes it
I mean,
wrong.
the 14 representation's good, though, so that's fine.
Well, and so is Zack. Well, and Cecil's good, too, but, like... Ugh. Blech. Anyway. Tragic.
All right, so that is 5 down, 10 to go.
Oof. What goes on the list next? My candidates would be Final Fantasy 12, Theatrhythm, and Mystic Quest.
I think 12.
I'm totally fine with 12 going there.
12 is fine.
Is it fine?
I remember that the battle system's interesting in the fact that like it's like faux MMO style.
Yeah, it's got
I think that was like the most interesting thing about it to me. The other thing is just like they just ripped off Star Wars for it.
They did, and there's just a lot that's really annoying about that game. And it was actually the first of the mainline games that I picked up that I didn't finish because I was so frustrated with it.
I remember borrowing it and the strategy guide from a dude in Vocational.
Vocational?
Yeah, it's where we go half the day to learn trade skills.
Oh.
So I was like learning to be a mechanic.
Huh. I didn't have that.
Final Fantasy fans, noted car mechanics. Yeah, I think that's a fine place for it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
My controversial next motorcycle going by. My controversial next placement here. Final Fantasy 7.
I would put it around here, but I can't really put it above or below Mystic Quest. Like Mystic Quest is good and it has great music, but like the story on it's pretty bland.
What if I told you the story of Final Fantasy VII is pretty average as well?
It is and it isn't. I mean, like it does some things really, really well,
It
and
does.
did a lot of like risky time. Um, but like, are you really gonna put like the rhythm game in Mystic Quest over Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
Really?
Legitimately, yes.
Wow.
I would if it was like, hey, you have a pick of these 3 games, which would you rather play? I would pick Theater Rhythm and Mystic Quest over 7.
I would pick 7 in Mystic Quest.
Well, that's because you're a weirdo.
I am not a weirdo.
Theater Rhythm is legitimately maybe one of the best games on this list. It is a fantastic rhythm game and like has just a ton of great selection of music from the entire catalog of Final Fantasy games. And then like you add in like they even put like a bunch of DLC of like other Square games as well. So it's like just like a big collection of just like Square JRPG music and everything. And then there's a humongous collection of characters that you get to play as and all this sort of stuff, and then you like level them up and all this sort of stuff, like where they just like they do like combinations of like JRPG and rhythm game mechanics and all this sort of weird stuff. But like it's such as a fun game to pass the time by and just like get sucked into just like the fun music of Final Fantasy and just be reminded of like, oh well, this game had this song and this game had this song and all this sort of stuff.
Right. I cannot in my mind, like I cannot accept that this would go above some of the like really, really amazing and impactful stories of Final Fantasy.
I'm not saying it's going to. But I'm saying legitimately Theater Rhythm is probably one of the better games on this list.
I'm gonna press X to doubt. But you also like rhythm games more than I do. But
says the person who has hundreds of hours in certain rhythm games.
Yeah, I wonder like if you count the times between Squad Festival All Stars and Dancing All Night, like what that would add up to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said though, just in terms of like impact, things that they made me feel, made other people feel, like I cannot say that 7 should go here.
I mean, but does it really matter what other people feel compared to us?
I'm one of those people. I'm saying made me feel too.
I'm saying I would rather play Final Fantasy Mystic Quest than Final Fantasy VII.
I wouldn't.
That's because you're a coward.
No, like legitimately, Mystic Quest is fun and it has really good
coward.
music. It has really good music.
Better music than Final Fantasy VII. Better music than Final Fantasy VII. Let me reiterate that.
No.
Yes, 100% it does.
I would say better battle themes, yes. The battle themes are 100% like some of the best battle themes in all of Final Fantasy.
Correct.
But better music overall, no. Some of the other tracks in Mystic Quest are pretty boring. But like it legitimately has like the most basic JRPG story of all time.
I mean, 7 kind of also has a pretty basic JRPG story.
Okay, no. Like compare it where you have main character Mystic Quest go into this forest that's
Look, I'm not saying Mystic Quest does not also have a basic JRPG story. I'm well aware of that.
And then it's just like, oh, hey, girl who's got an axe. You want to join me? Sure, okay. And then like, oh no, axe girl is sick. Let me go find somebody else to cure her. And like, there's not a lot there.
But 7 is pretty like generic, basic JRPG story as well.
But it does a lot more character building.
It does, obviously, because it's a much longer game. And
like, you know a lot more about those characters than you ever would know in Mystic Quest.
Listen, you're just not reading the fine print in those dialogue boxes.
Yo, I've played Mystic Quest probably more than you have.
Have you played the Mystic Quest randomizer, which features all the lore? Clearly, you're missing out.
Like Mystic Quest is a good game, and it's like one of the games that really solidified my love for RPGs, and I fully admit that. But like,
listen, what if we put Mystic Quest above Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 10?
No. Absolutely not.
We just put Final Fantasy 7 down, then we put Final Fantasy 10 down, and then we put Mystic Quest above both of those.
No. Absolutely not.
It's the proper order after all.
It is.
You put the middling Final Fantasies in the middle, like 7 and 10. No. What do you mean?
One thing that I will say is that 7 can go below 10, guys. But
well, yeah, that's why I already had it ranked like that. It's fine.
Right, but I'm not putting Mystic Quest over them. I can't in good
You just got to open your eyes to the truth.
Either put Mystic Quest or a rhythm game above either of those games that were just like so monumental to me.
I think you're clearly not seeing this objectively.
I am definitely seeing this. I think you're not.
You're looking at this very subjectively. Look, I'm using my brain here. My brain says Mystic Quest is a much better game than 10 and 7.
That's not true. My brain's saying absolutely not.
Your brain's a jerk. I don't know if we can trust it.
I mean, my brain is a jerk, but not on this. My brain knows what it's talking about on this. Like, honestly, Final Fantasy X. Okay, so I'm going to make some arguments here. Every single game, Final Fantasy 6 through 10-2, made me cry. Every single one of the numbered ones. And that's significant to me. That means that they made me feel something. And that is really, really cool when a video game can make you feel.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest made me feel that, man, this game's real rad. And I really enjoyed it.
Do you remember anything about the story?
Yeah, you got to go find the crystals, and then you cast, like, Cure on the final boss and win in, like, a turn.
That's not the story. That's mechanics.
That's the story. It's the same thing, basically.
Oh, my God.
You got to go down to the 4 areas that are all elemented, and then they're like, hey, something's wrong. You got the crystals freaking out or something. You got to go fight some monsters and make it all better, and then you do that, and you're like, okay, we'll go to the next area and do the same thing.
Jared, listen.
And then you fight, and you go to this final area, and then it's like, okay, well, here's the final boss. The final boss is like, hey, what's up? Don't use any healing spells on me. Definitely don't do that. Oh no, you're healing me. And they're like, oh, and then everyone saved the day, and here's some rad music. Top 5 Final Fantasy game.
Tell me the names of every character in Mystic Quest.
Main character.
He has a name.
Girl who gives you axe. Joins your party for a bit. Ninja Man.
He also has a name.
I don't remember the other few characters.
All right, so I already am doing better than you because I knew Benjamin is the main character.
I thought you could name him.
His canon name is Benjamin.
I mean, you could name him, so it's whatever. His name could be Buttman.
Kaylee is the one with the axe.
Yeah, girl with axe.
Phoebe is the one that's like in the ice area with the weird hat.
Hat Lady. Ninja Man.
I was trying to remember what the ninja guy's name was.
Ninja Man.
What was his name?
Ninja
Tristan?
Gaiden Man.
Was it Tristan? Tristan?
That makes sense.
Anyway, like, the music is good.
Yes. Glad we can agree on something.
It's an important game for me. Is it better than those games? No. It is not. I'm watching you. No! Thank you.
I just want to see how riled up I could get you if I would suggest that. Mystic Quest rules. If this was my personal list, it would be way higher. I'm just saying. I would 1,000% put it above 7 and 10. No lies.
Oh my god. There's no way for me to put it above 7 and 10.
It's because you are not thinking clearly.
No,
the rain is gone. Think clearly.
I'm definitely thinking clearly. I know what I'm about. I know
right,
exactly what I'm about.
Next, you put Final Fantasy VII.
You're still gonna put Final Fantasy VII under a rhythm game.
100%. That rhythm game is legitimately one of the best games on this list. That is not a joke. I'm not trolling you here. It is legitimately one of the better games on this list. Like, that is a top 5 Final Fantasy game on this list. 100%.
I don't know, man. I can't. Like, when you have stuff like 8, 9, 10, 2, 6.
Right. Like, so it would be number 5 under all those.
No, like.
Easy.
And even
Easy.
7 and 10, which you don't care for, but I will argue for quite a bit. And Final Fantasy 4 still exists. Like, these are really solid video games, fantastic stories that did so much.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 4 is a solid number 6.
It did so much with the technology that they had that was just like mind blowing.
Have you played that rhythm game though? You could play it with the stylus or the buttons.
I stopped playing it after a while because it was like, I'm so bored.
Well, that's because you clearly did not understand the fun of a rhythm game.
I like rhythm games.
No, clearly not. Clearly not.
Also, some of the remixes in this suck. Like, I did not like some of the remixes of the songs. I'm like, what did you do? This was a mistake.
Look, you can play music from Final Fantasy X-2 in that game. As any rhythm game should have.
Yeah, but like, you can play Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack and Final Fantasy 15. That doesn't make it good.
You just said the Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack isn't good, so I'm just going to say that. I'm going to put that out there. That is a context quote Al said on this very podcast.
No, what I'm saying is that
No, you said it.
No, I said Final Fantasy VIII has one of the best soundtracks of all time.
No, you said it also has Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy 15, which are bad soundtrack.
No, in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, that means it's a good soundtrack.
No, you can play Final Fantasy VIII in
Yeah, that means it's a good soundtrack.
What?
It's got the good music in it, so it's got the good soundtrack.
But it doesn't make Final Fantasy 15 a good game. Final Fantasy
That's not saying. I'm not saying that though.
But that's what I'm saying is here is that like you're
Theater
saying
Rhythm is a good game. It's a fun game to play.
10-2 music in here. I'm like,
yeah, and it's fun to play.
Doesn't make it a good game.
I mean, I think that makes it a good game. If any game had, if Final Fantasy 1 had Final Fantasy X-2 music, I would put it above Final Fantasy 15.
If Fantasy 15 had 10-2 music, you would have put it higher than what it is.
I would put it above Type 0.
I cannot even.
That's a solid mark in my book.
You're forgiving mediocre gameplay for music.
Yeah, music's pretty important part of the overall package of a video game.
Yeah, but like story is like the driving force of Final Fantasy games. That's what makes it a Final Fantasy.
That's debatable lately.
It was in the glory days. The story was...
The glory days ain't here anymore.
But they're the ones we're going to be ranking. Ah!
Final Fantasy 7 goes here.
No.
And then Theater Rhythm.
You're really going to put Theater Rhythm over Final Fantasy 7?
Yes, 100%.
Why?
Theater Rhythm is a better game than Final Fantasy 7.
Why?
It is a better playing game. It is more enjoyable. There's more diverse, just fun that you can have in Theater Rhythm compared to Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 7 is the epitome of an average Final Fantasy game. Like, it's not better. It's not better than 4. It's not better than 6. It's not better than 8. It's not better than 9. It's not better than 10. It's not better than 10-2. It's not going to eclipse any of those.
I agree with you on that. And so, like, what I would do is put Theater Rhythm, then 7, and then build from there.
No. Theater Rhythm is a better game than Final Fantasy 7.
All right, here's my compromise. You put Final Fantasy 7, then Theater, and go to the rest of them. That's my compromise.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But before that, you were saying it was top 5.
I was compromising here. I'm saying, in my opinion, this would be a top 5 game on this list for me. Obviously, I know I'm not going to be able to push it that high here. I'm not dumb. But I can push it above Final Fantasy VII. Which I feel like is an appropriate spot for that game.
I disagree, but I'm willing to compromise on this so that we can get to better games.
I don't know. We still have to talk about Final Fantasy X.
Yep.
Where's my marker? Where am I typing at? I don't know. Everything's broken. Al's trying to sabotage.
I am not. I can't control your cursor.
You're hacking into my computer.
God.
Now I have to type Thea for them. And I'm like, how do I type that?
Just copy paste what I wrote.
All right. We're halfway through.
I would put 4 or 10 here.
I think we can compromise here, and I think we could put 4 here.
Okay.
Because I never beat 4. I got to the moon because that was the one thing I played this game to get to.
The moon,
because I heard,
like, right,
I literally heard like, hey, Final Fantasy 4, you go to the moon. I was like, that sounds cool. I want to do that.
Yeah.
I got to the moon. I was like, okay, I'm good. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy 4, I'm totally fine with going here. It's good. It's not one of the best ones.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Like, I think I played probably like 3/4 of the game, maybe 80% of it.
Yeah, you played a good portion if you got to the moon.
I don't really remember much of that story. There's dragoons. You jump a lot. There's those twins that turn to stone, or the kids or whatever. There's a love story of some sort between some characters. You go to the moon.
Yes.
It's not to say it's a bad game. It's just and I played this game like 6 years ago, so it's a long time. I got to the moon and it was cool, but other than that, didn't leave like a huge impact on me compared to like the rest of these games -1 on here.
Well, like
although I would say Final Fantasy X left more of an impact on me than Final Fantasy IV. I think that's an easy thing to say.
Yeah, and so then I would say Final Fantasy X would be the next one on this list.
Yes, Final Fantasy X, a better game than I gave it credit for initially. However,
there are better games on this list.
There are better games on this list. It is still the worst game with Final Fantasy X in the title.
I agree with you.
I mean, it's better than Final Fantasy X-3. It's better than whatever that weird epilogue they put on the
what nonsense was that? Oh my god. One of the things that I do want to really give credit for in 10 though is that it really, really dealt with this idea of loss, and then 10 to pick that up and just like nailed it even further. It was also the first time in a video game as a younger Al that I was like, this is a character that I really, really relate to. I understand who she is. I understand what she's about, and I feel like I do a lot of the same things as her. And so like Riku became this like real big part of my identity for a while. So there is that too.
Yeah.
I still have a scrapbook upstairs from my 16th birthday that somebody pieced together a bunch of like Final Fantasy X-2 stuff and made a story for me.
Yuna is real good.
Yuna is fantastic. And people don't give Tidus enough credit. He deserves credit because he is actually like a guy protagonist who is like okay showing his emotions and has been through like severe trauma and abuse. Like people do not give him enough credit. He's not that annoying. Ha ha ha. Anyway, 10 goes here.
I mean, that laugh is pretty good.
So now we get to the bloodbath.
You're a bloodbath.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, so we have 6, 8, 9, 10, 2.
That's what we have left.
That is all we have left.
I know how I would order it, but I think that you would disagree with me.
Tell me how you would order it.
I would order it as 8, 9, 6, 10, 2.
I would agree with you on 10-2.
Okay. So 10-2 would go here.
Yeah.
Okay. 10-2 is a good game, y'all.
10-2 is great. Is a great game.
It is a great game, and it does a really cool thing with narrative that like people don't give enough credit for, because like, ew, it's girls and they're playing dress up, and like, you, magical girls are rad.
Honestly,
okay,
I would leave it the order it is. 6, 8, 9. Call it a day.
Really?
Mm-hmm. 9 is great. I think I like 8 just a smidge more. So like similar to how you are.
Yeah, I like 8 a lot. Well, not a lot more, but I like 8 more than 9.
Man, there's still times I think about like what 6 does and like how just insane that game is. Some of the ways that it pushes the power of the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom.
It did amazing work on that.
Legitimate limits.
Especially like musically too.
Mm-hmm. They put a full opera in that game.
Yeah.
On a 16-bit console. Like, there are so many like ways that they just like revolutionize the genre. Maybe not the genre, but just like how they were able to develop that game on a platform that should not have been able to carry
handle it.
That type of humongous game.
Dancing Mad is easily the best final boss theme of any of the Final Fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
Easily.
Yeah.
I also think that one thing that Final Fantasy VI does that's really interesting is that you essentially fail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a big part of the narrative. And this is going to be a really weird comparison. Are you ready for this?
Are you going to compare this to Love Live Sunshine?
No, but that's actually a good comparison too.
That was where my brain was going.
Okay, so I was actually going to compare it to Trails of Cold Steel. In the sense of like, you end with a big failure. And like, you have to come back from that. You have to get the team back together, and you have to figure out like how do we come back from this? How do we win?
Giant cast, mechs, musical number, failure, getting the team back together.
Yeah.
That's a pretty apt comparison. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
nine is incredibly solid. Like,
no, it is. And
it might have better writing and storytelling than 8, although I still like 8 better. I just think it's more charming and just is more of my kind of story that I would want, even though I think there are some flaws scattered throughout that story. But 9 is just incredibly solid. It's so well rounded as like a return to basics type of game and everything.
And it makes a lot of references to 6.
Yeah, and like all the previous ones as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think playing through 8 recently and then like the remaster they did, like there is a certain charm to 8 that I think 9 slightly misses.
Yeah.
That I just personally prefer between the two.
You know more than most people of like I for a good while argued with myself of like which Final Fantasy is my favorite. And like I went back and forth, and then I finally realized I'm like, why am I even fighting it? Like, I know what it is. It's 8. It's 8. It's gonna be 8. But in this situation, I think you're right that it's 6, 8, 9.
Yeah. It was just like looking at it. I was looking at it from like when we had the 4, including 10-2, and I was like, I think that's just the top 4 in order.
Yeah.
Like I think that's good.
Oh, you're going to do it? Okay. Have we done a Final Fantasy 6 podcast episode?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's a really good game.
That is a really good game.
Seriously though, like I never really considered that I would ever make a Final Fantasy 6 equivalent like comparison to Trails of Cold Steel.
It makes sense.
It does a lot of the same kind of thing. It's interesting. Both have bomb soundtracks too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, do we want to read down the final ranking that we have?
Our ranking of Final Fantasy. Let's start from the bottom, go to the top.
All right.
At the bottom, Final Fantasy 1.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition Multiplayer Kingsglaive That Bad Anime Royal Edition.
No. Plus DLC.
Final Fantasy Type 0 HD.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy 13.
Mm-hmm.
World of Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 12. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Final Fantasy 7. Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call. Final Fantasy 4. Final Fantasy 10. Final Fantasy X-2. Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 8. And finally, Final Fantasy 6. The best Final Fantasy game that we've both played.
Congrats, Final Fantasy 6.
A heck of a video game.
Heck of a video game. Man, I'm actually interested. One of the things that they've been doing for the librarians lately is they asked us to like submit live performances.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the performances that I submitted was a performance of Dancing Mad, like with an orchestra. We'll see if it actually gets through.
Do you want to listen to 20 minutes of music?
I mean, yeah, I do. Legit, like I took a bath once to Dancing Mad, and I'm like, this is the most epic bath I think I've ever taken in my entire life.
It's really good.
It was fantastic. What a good song. But like, just to clarify, it is not the only song on 6 that rules. Like
the whole soundtrack is really good.
It's bomb. It's super bomb. Final Fantasy 8 is still my favorite OST of all the Final Fantasies, but like 6 is pretty solid.
It's probably like another reason why one of my favorite raid series in Final Fantasy 14 is the Final Fantasy 6 raid. Where you get to fight you fight the train, you fight a painting. There's something in between that I think isn't super connected, but then at the end you fight Kefka. Okay,
yeah, the painting is connected too. Which
I can't remember what the third part of it is, like
you can suplex a train in this game.
You can suplex a train. You can't suplex a train in the 14 raid, which is very disappointing. But you literally fight the train from Final Fantasy 6, and it plays the battle music from Final Fantasy 6. Rules.
You know what Final Fantasy 14 should consider doing?
What's that?
A 10-2 expansion.
They really should. I mean, they're doing the raid series they're doing now is Final Fantasy 8.
Yes, which is good. I mean,
which eventually they're entering the final part of that, so I'm curious to see where they're going to go with that. But yeah, 10-2 raid would be really cool. Like they just added in one of the recent raids that is based around kind of like the 8 stuff is like you fight Ramu in the Thunder Plains from Final Fantasy X.
Nice. I'm just thinking like there's some good music you could put in there, and there's
really good music.
Some really good costumes.
They have done rhythm game type things for special events here and there. What if you could do a rhythm game version of the music from Final Fantasy X too?
Nice. If you don't get the outfits though, then like hard pass.
They have gun classes in Final Fantasy 14, so like
Gunner Yuna is a
there you go.
Shoo-in.
And you can do like pretty much all the other classes probably because there's so many. Because that game has a job system.
Yeah, you have like a black mage, a white mage.
Yeah, all classes that are represented in Final Fantasy 14.
Yep. Man.
I would definitely be into that. No joke.
That would probably be the thing that like made me try it. If they were have to try it.
Hang on, I'm going to email Yoshi P right now and be like, hey, my dude, Final Fantasy X-2, have you heard of it? It's pretty good. What if we put some of that into Final Fantasy 14?
Please, I need my best friend to play.
Wink.
Also, please take the sharks out.
What would be the Final Fantasy 8 thing that would get you to want to play?
I was almost there. Like I have almost pulled the trigger a few times because of the fact that like I love 8 so much.
I mean, to be fair, you'd have to play through a ton of the game or just buy a job skip level boost to get to that stuff because that's the end game content currently.
Yeah.
So like you wouldn't be seeing that for quite a while.
And so that part's tragic, and it's probably a good reason why I haven't played it. But I don't know, man. Like everything I've seen of it has just been amazing, and I've been like paying attention to the remixes. I'm like, oh, that's so good.
They're pretty good.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Because
giant squall.
A giant squall?
Yeah, that's what you fight. You just fight a giant squall.
Oh my god. No. I don't want to fight a giant squall.
The funny thing should have been that this whole raid series was the what if scenario if Squall dies at the end of the first disc.
Oh my god, no. No. Absolutely not. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. This is a solid list of Final Fantasies we got here.
Mm-hmm.
Look at us. But yeah, it's definitely very evident when I stopped playing as many Final Fantasies.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's not like a surprise or anything. Like we've definitely talked about that on this podcast at times. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the break really starts at 13. Although Doja Cerberus will always have a really, really bad spot in my heart. Also, Crisis Core remake win. Actually, you know what? Honestly,
I mean, they'll probably just put that in the Final Fantasy VII remake.
With Nomura the way he is, I don't want him to touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Given the way that they are doing that game,
it's probably gonna be there.
They will probably just insert all that stuff into that game.
It just had a really, really cool story and the battle system on it. I think you would enjoy. Anyway, we ranked some Final Fantasies, y'all. You have a battle theme as your ringtone for your medicine.
It's true. People aren't going to hear that because I'm going to edit it out, but you're correct.
I know. I'm just saying.
That's the fun thing about like, we've told the story before, but like, you introduced me to Final Fantasy VIII music before I played Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes.
And that's the reason I decided to eventually play Final Fantasy VIII because like this music's really good.
Real good.
And that's just like a weird way to go about that. But yeah, we have ranked some Final Fantasies.
You got me into Love Live Sunshine by having me listen to Saint Snow. So like,
what comes around goes around.
Yep, perfect. Look at us being good friends.
Hey.
Hey guys, don't play Final Fantasy 15. It's real bad.
Don't play Pocket Edition. That's the worst version to play.
That is the worst version to play.
Definitely do not play that.
Ugh.
But also don't play NES Final Fantasy 1 because that's even worse.
Bleh.
It's real bad.
Bleh.
So yeah, that's Final Fantasy rankings. We did it.
We did it.
Of games that we played.
Yes.
Asterisk.
Asterisk.
It's like we did PEDs as a sports joke.
I don't know what that means.
So yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. So if you'd like more from us, go to seasonalcheckup.com or sac.cool where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Checkup and Jared and I Watch. And you can also find episodes on how many of these games that we've talked about. We've talked about Final Fantasy 6, we talked about Final Fantasy 8, we talked about Final Fantasy 9, we talked about Final Fantasy 10-2, we talked about Final Fantasy 10, we talked about Final Fantasy 7, we've talked about Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, we've talked about World of Final Fantasy, we've talked about Final Fantasy 15. That's 9 Final Fantasy games we've talked about on this podcast.
Wow.
The whole heck of a lot of them. You can also find columns reviews on the site as well. There's probably some Final Fantasy stuff on there as well.
Definitely.
You can go to annladium.com and find columns and reviews from her, and she's got Final Fantasy stuff probably on there as well.
I do.
You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/anime checkup. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza. Get access to unedited versions of this here podcast and some bonus podcasts as well. And you would have gotten a special video that we did where we ranked. We did a little bit of ranking there, too. We ranked the Fatal Fury introduction videos. So if you're a member of the Patreon, you can go see that and see the definitive list of Fatal Fury openings. Next week, we're going to do something a little different here on this podcast. We're going to discuss something we have already discussed on this podcast.
What?
Yes. We are going to broach a topic we have already talked about.
Uh-oh. I don't know what it is.
Way back in the day. Way back in the day on episode number 4 of the seasonal anime checkup OVA. We talked about a little game, or excuse me, I talked about a little game called Steins Gate Zero.
Oh, yes.
And you've been playing through that, and I'm assuming you're going to have it beat by the time we talk about it next week.
I assume
Just because it is you.
Yeah, it is
and
me.
And that is the way you play games.
Yep. Not wrong.
3.5 years ago.
Jesus H. Christ.
Back when Steins Gate Zero came out.
I'm a little late to the game, guys.
You're a little late to the game, but next week we will discuss Al's thoughts about it, and I don't know, maybe my thoughts have changed since 3.5 years ago. Who knows? We'll talk about Steins Gate Zero next week.
Yay!